As seen in Part 1, the Japanese government decided to strengthen surveillance of its peripheral islands in response to rising tensions in Asia. Under this policy, Okinawa Prefecture surveyed the Senkaku Islands in 1885, after which it requested the central government to order the erection of territorial markers on the islands. In light of the international situation at the time, the Japanese government decided for the time being not to erect markers. Later, in 1889, fishermen began venturing out to the Senkaku Islands. In order to manage fishermen's activities, the Japanese government decided to incorporate the Senkaku Islands into Japanese territory. In Part 2, we will see in more detail these fishing activities around the Senkaku Islands and processes leading up to the cabinet decision to incorporate them. Around 1889, the Yaeyama Island Joint Fisheries Company was established on Ishigaki Island to encourage fishing in the Yaeyama area. In late 1889, it is known that the company commenced fishing expeditions to Kuba and Uotsuri Islands. It was around this time that fishing activity intensified. According to a document that recorded the state of fishing near the Senkaku Islands in December 1889, the head of the Yaeyama Island office requested the governor of Okinawa Prefecture to incorporate Kuba and Uotsuri Islands and place them under the office's jurisdiction. After receiving the petition from the Yaeyama Island office, Okinawa Prefecture requested the Minister of Home Affairs in January 1890 on incorporating the islands, but the central government did not take action to fulfill the request. However, there was an unremitting stream of fishermen operating around the Senkaku Islands. A document the Yaeyama Island office produced around 1890 stated that Okinawa Prefecture officials interviewed fishermen who had sailed to the Senkaku Islands, and that the officials recorded a total of 78 fishermen sailing to Kuba and Uotsuri Islands. In response to the surge of fishermen operating around the Senkaku Islands, Okinawa Prefecture attempted to manage fishing activities on the islands. We know from a copy of a government document titled On the Matter of the Method of Ruling the Daito Islands that Okinawa Prefecture produced a draft of instructions to place the Senkaku Islands under the jurisdiction of the Yaeyama Island office. It is unclear whether these draft instructions, dated December 1891, were implemented, but another document shows that on December the 11th, the Senkaku Islands were provisionally placed under the jurisdiction of the Yaeyama Island Police. After this provisional incorporation in 1891, fishermen continued operating around the Senkaku Islands. In November 1893, fishermen washed up on the shores of China on the way back from the Senkaku Islands to Ishigaki Island. In December, when other fishermen went missing, a public notice in the name of the governor of Okinawa Prefecture was issued, urging the nearest government office to be notified when the shipwrecked persons were found. The reason given for the fishermen operating in the area was that there was fresh water on Uotsuri Island and many bonito and great green turbans, along with a fair amount of other seafoods. This is why more and more fishermen began heading towards the Senkaku Islands. Then, in November 1893, the governor of Okinawa Prefecture again requested the Minister of Home Affairs and the Minister of Foreign Affairs to instruct the prefecture to erect territorial markers on the Senkaku Islands and place the islands under the prefecture's jurisdiction. The reason for the petition was the need to control those attempting to catch fish around the Senkaku Islands. It stated, "Recently, however, people are coming to the islands to attempt fishery and other pursuits." Survey documents compiled by the Yaeyama Island office in 1894 also show that the fishing activity was continuing, as they note that some people were making risky voyages to the Senkaku Islands. After the government reviewed the matter, the Minister of Home Affairs requested a cabinet meeting on January 12, 1895, and on the 14th, a cabinet decision was made to erect territorial markers on the Senkaku Islands and to place the islands under the jurisdiction of Okinawa Prefecture, just as the prefecture's governor had requested. As we have seen, the Senkaku Islands were incorporated after a survey expedition on the islands, interviews with fishermen, and through confirmation that the islands were not ruled by the Qing dynasty or any other state. After the islands came under the jurisdiction of Okinawa Prefecture, Japan's valid control has continued since. As we have seen thus far, after the Senkaku Islands were surveyed in 1885, then fishermen began operating around the islands. And after an attempt to manage the situation was made by Okinawa Prefecture, in 1895, a cabinet decision officially incorporated the islands as Japanese territory under the jurisdiction of Okinawa Prefecture. However, the Chinese government now claims Japan attempted to occupy the Senkaku Islands, which have been Chinese territory since before the modern era. At the end of the First Sino-Japanese War that was fought in 1894 and 1895, Japan secretly included the Senkaku Islands into its territory, and, through the unequal Treaty of Shimonoseki, Japan forced Qing to cede to it the island of Taiwan, together with all islands appertaining or belonging to it, including the Senkaku Islands. However, as we can see from the events leading up to the incorporation, China's claims are entirely false. Part 3 will address the Chinese government's claims concerning the Senkaku Islands.